So this is me, sitting by the edge of a mountain path, painting with a tripod I made out of rocks. And this is the view I'm painting. Here's how it happened. I was hiking in the mountains around Lake Annecy, and everything felt just perfect. I found this beautiful spot. I couldn't resist painting this view, but I forgot to bring my tripod for recording. So I made this one. Sit with me while I paint this tiny watercolor. Let's enjoy this relaxing moment together. First, let's get everything set up. All my plein air watercolor painting essentials fit into one tiny pouch. This is my mini palette with just 8 basic colors, but they do everything I need. And my tiny sketchbook, I made it myself. I always take it with me when I go outside. It's already full of memories. I hope to complete it this year. And the tiny metal oil can for water. When I forget to bring it, I just use a bottle cap instead. It's quite practical. And this is a detachable brush that protects the tip. Super handy and easy to carry wherever I go. And of course, my favorite washi masking tape. This slim version is so cute. I will use it to mask the borders of the paper while painting and peel it off later to create white, refined borders for the result. That's it, I'm all set. This is the view I'm painting today. A gentle mountain with a beautiful Lake Annecy resting below and soft green trees in the foreground. It's such a beautiful view. I start with the mountain in the center. I'm using a light color and a dry brush to make loose, flowing strokes that sketch out the mountain's shape. I leave some gaps to keep the lines soft and airy. Then I go back in with a bit more water to pull the color downward, shaping the body of the mountain. At the mountain base, I'm bringing some light browns for some villages. I'm not going for detail, just some depth of color, like little hints of life. Some of the trees in the mountains have that dry, sunlit look, so I'm mixing a bit of yellow-green to show the brightness and warmth. Now the mountain feels a bit flat, so I mix green with Payne's gray and start defining the ridge. I keep the brush very dry and layer slowly, just little touches, one at a time. I let the shadows sketch down into the lower slopes, blending them gently. There are 2 smaller hills tucked behind the main one, so I add those with light gray color. The sun keeps shifting. It's casting warm light across the paper now. I love those moments, even it's not very practical while painting, but that's part of the joy of plein air painting. Everything is alive and changing around you. Next, I move on to the sky. It's a beautiful clear day with soft white clouds floating near the mountains. First, I need to prepare light blue for the first layer of sky. This step requires some patience. I gradually add water to dilute the color little by little until the blue is airy. And make sure the brush is full of water. I begin with a very light blue wash, using the wet on dry technique and leaving white spaces for the cloud. I change the pressure and angle of the brush as I go, so the sky feels more dynamic. While the paper is still wet, I dab in some deeper blue around the clouds to give them shape. I use a dry brush to smoothly spread out the color. Using my fingertip to gently tap the edges to soften the transitions. It makes everything feel more natural. Now for the lake. I start by wetting the paper. Here I add just a touch of burnt sienna to the water for a hint of warmth. For the main lake color, I mix blue with a little green and gray to get that natural turquoise tone. I keep my brush a bit drier so I have more control. As I paint, I leave small white gaps to capture the sparkle of the water. With the diluted wash, I gently spread the paint, leaving a few gaps here and there to add movement and texture of the lake. Then I gently layer in deeper blue for the shadows once the surface is almost dry. At this stage, water control on the brush is really important. You want just enough moisture to blend smoothly. Too much water will leave harsh marks. Finally, I move to foreground, the trees and plants. Their colors are mostly yellow, yellow-green, and deeper greens. I lay down a light yellow base first. I like to leave some white space between the lake and the trees. It helps the whole scene feel lighter and more open. For the second layer, I dot on some yellow-green. I find the painting is already quite full. I want to keep this part simple. Then I use a deeper green to build up the shadows and some details. As the sun is coming from the top right, so I deepen the shadows more on the lower left. Still, it feels like it needs a bit more contrast. So I add a few small touches of darker green very gently, layer by layer. At the very end, I add a touch of red near the base of the mountain, just a little warmth, to give the landscape a quiet sense of life. And that's it. This tiny plein air watercolor painting is done. Time for my favorite part, peeling the tape. I know it may sound silly, but watching that crisp white edge appear is the most satisfying moment. Let's take a moment to enjoy the result together. The softer colors, the light on the lake, everything feels gentle and peaceful, full of summer vibe. These little scenes are why I love painting outdoors. I may not check the photos I took today, but I will keep this painting. Every time I look at it, it brings me back to the light, the air, and the quiet joy while painting it. That's the magic in a plein air painting. Thank you for sitting with me today. I hope this moment felt calm and healing for you. If you'd like to explore more miniature watercolor yourself, you can join my beginner-friendly online course. I'm Nan, a miniature watercolor addict. Subscribe to my channel for more relaxing watercolor moments like this. See you next time!